Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter that her mom cheated on me when my daughter said my new girlfriend looks like an OnlyFans chick? Plus update. Original post, throwaway account and fake names for privacy. I, 49 male, got divorced from my wife Emily, 49 female, about a year and a half ago after I found out she had been cheating on me with more than one man. It wasn't just a one-time thing or a one-night mistake. She had full-on affairs with several different guys over time, and once I knew, I couldn't stay in the marriage anymore. We have 2 kids together, a son, Nick, 22 male, and a daughter, Skylar, 19 female. When we told the kids we were getting divorced, we didn't get into the reasons why. Emily didn't want the kids to know about her cheating, and at the time, I didn't want to make things worse for them by dragging them into adult problems. Since the divorce, the kids have spent more time with their mom. Nick especially has always been close to her, even when he was younger. They've always had a strong bond, and he didn't take the divorce too well. Skylar and I, on the other hand, have always been close. She's more like me, quiet, logical, and careful with trust. But because neither of them knew the real reason behind the divorce, they both naturally leaned more toward their mom's side, especially since I was the one who moved out and they stayed in the house with her. Recently, I started dating again. I met Lisa, 54 female, through a mutual friend. She's outgoing, funny, full of energy, and honestly, she's beautiful. She dresses in a way that some might call bold or sexy, but she owns it with confidence and grace. She makes me laugh, treats me with respect, and seems to truly enjoy life. After a few months of seeing each other, I decided it was time to introduce her to my kids. We all met up for lunch. Nick was surprisingly warm and friendly toward Lisa right away. He seemed to enjoy talking with her and even made jokes with her. I could tell he genuinely liked her. Skylar, though, was clearly not impressed. She barely spoke during the meal, kept giving side glances, and was cold toward Lisa without being openly rude. It was awkward, but I didn't want to push her in the moment. A couple of days later, Skylar came over to visit me. While we were talking, she suddenly said, "Lisa looks like an OnlyFans chick." If you knew Skylar, you'd be as surprised as I was. She's never been the kind of person to talk like that, especially about another woman. The way she said it, almost with disgust, caught me off guard. I asked her why she'd say something like that, and she just shrugged and looked uncomfortable. That was when I decided it was finally time to tell her the truth. I told Skylar that her mother, Emily, had cheated on me with several men. That's why the marriage ended. I told her that I met Lisa long after the divorce, and that Lisa had nothing to do with any of it. After I said that, Skylar just sat there in silence and softly said, "Oh." She didn't ask any questions, and she didn't get angry. She just got quiet and didn't say much for the rest of the visit. The next day, I got a call from my ex-wife, Emily. She was furious. She said that Skylar came home and was acting strange, and when she asked what was going on, Skylar told her I had said something about the divorce. Emily asked me if I told the kids she cheated. I said yes, because I didn't think it was right that they were walking around judging me and my life when they didn't know what really happened. Emily then said that I had implied I would keep it a secret. I reminded her that I never actually promised to keep her cheating to myself. I just didn't say anything at the time. She argued that by keeping quiet for so long, I gave her the impression I would never bring it up. And now I had broken that unspoken agreement. I told her I was done keeping secrets that made me look like the bad guy when she was the one who destroyed the marriage in the first place. Now I'm wondering, was I wrong to finally tell the truth to our daughter? I didn't go into details or try to turn her against her mom. I just told her the reason I left after she made that unfair comment about my new girlfriend. I feel like I was backed into a corner. But now I have to ask, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. How long since the divorce? How long ago did she cheat? Did she cheat with 20-year-olds when she was a 20-year-old? The divorce was finalized in November 2024. Her cheating was discovered in June 2023. I know of at least 8 guys she cheated with. She cheated with men in their mid to late 20s when she was in her late 40s. So sorry for you to have to get through something like that. Were you two in a dead bedroom situation at the time? And at least 8 men? What's up with that? Her reasoning? and how you came to find how many were she with. Between me and my ex-wife, there was no dead bedroom. There was frequent sex. My ex-wife said this wasn't the life she wanted. She said she wanted constant excitement. She said she was tired of acting like an innocent conservative woman. Not the a-hole. Cheaters hate consequences. All cheaters should be outed. Consequences are important for kids to understand the impact of actions, especially in families. Not the a-hole. She probably heard her mom say it about your girlfriend and just parroted it. Turnabout is fair play. I can't confirm whether or not my ex said that about my new girlfriend, but it is odd that my daughter would insult a woman that way. My daughter is a self-proclaimed sex-positive feminist, and she hates those kinds of insults towards women. It doesn't sound like words she would naturally say. Your daughter is a teenager who is probably having a bit of an issue with her dad dating. Reminding her that a comment like that is inconsistent with her beliefs would have been a more measured response than attacking her with her mother's infidelity. Now for the mini update. Something of an update since I posted. Even though my daughter is in her bedroom, in my house, I messaged her because she said she doesn't want to see anyone. She sent me a very, very long message she had written beforehand. In the message, my daughter admitted that her mom and her maternal aunt said those kinds of things about Lisa. She said she's embarrassed that she repeated those awful things. She said she thought that I was the one who cheated on her mom. She said she thought I had cheated on her mom with Lisa. She said she's not mad at me. She said she's mad at her mom. She said Lisa seems like a wonderful woman. She said she wants to talk about this face-to-face, but not anytime soon. She said she'll tell me when she's up to talking about it face-to-face, when she thinks she can do it without crying. Next story. Am I the a-hole for embarrassing my ex-crush after he said something very hurtful about me? Last summer, we moved across the country, and I had to go to a new school. I became part of a friend group whose members had known each other for a long time. I always felt left out because they would ignore me all the time. A while ago, I told a friend that I had a crush on a guy from our circle of friends. He was the only one who didn't completely ignore me, and that's what led me to develop feelings for him. The very next time we were all hanging out, she brought it up in front of everyone. My ex-crush made a disgusted face and said, "No thanks, I'm allergic to Asians." Everyone laughed, even that friend who revealed my secret, whom I had considered my closest friend at the time. My body went cold, and I felt this sharp pain in my stomach. All I could do was force an awkward smile. I couldn't even speak. I stayed with them for maybe 10 more minutes before I finally made an excuse and went straight home. I felt sick and ended up throwing up, then I cried for hours. That was honestly one of the worst days of my life. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and lonely. After that day, I cut contact and never hung out with them again. We ignored each other in and outside of school, and I managed to make new friends. Yesterday, my friends and I were in the school library's lounge area, talking about dumb stuff and giggling. At one point, I noticed my ex-crush looking in my direction. As soon as our eyes met, he smiled and waved at me. I felt pain and disgust in my stomach, so I just rolled my eyes and turned my attention back to my friends. After a few moments, I heard him calling my name while suddenly standing right beside us. That made the pain in my stomach spike to 10 times worse. He asked how I was doing. I just said, "I'm fine," without asking him anything in return. I turned back to my friend and kept talking, hoping he'd take the hint and leave. But he didn't. He just stood there, not saying anything. I was extremely annoyed, and I saw my friends getting worried. Looking back, I think they noticed how visibly uncomfortable I'd become. Without even thinking, I turned to him and said, "You sure you want to stand this close to us? I thought you said you were allergic to Asians." The people around us went quiet and started turning their heads. He looked shocked and embarrassed. His stupid smile vanished. Then he quickly walked away. My friends were confused and amused at the same time. I explained what had happened with the old group. Honestly, making my ex-crush feel embarrassed and finally speaking up about what happened felt amazing. That awful pain in my stomach disappeared instantly. My friends hugged me and assured me that I did nothing wrong. But today, ever since I woke up, I've been feeling kind of guilty. Mostly for feeling good about what I did. Something inside me keeps telling me I should feel bad about my actions, whether or not he deserved it. Not the a-hole. Even if he was trying to be funny in the moment, he was a dick. And good for you. This was our first interaction since then. He never apologized or clarified that he was joking or not. Not the a-hole. You just reminded him of what he had said to you. If that makes you feel guilty, get over it. You did great. Thank you. It's kind of hard for me to see it that way. My parents always tell me to be polite and avoid causing a scene. Not the a-hole. You stood up for yourself and put the racist in his place. The guilt you're feeling, that's not yours to carry, that's his. You deserve respect, and you're worthy. Remember that. Thank you for saying that. What you did was perfect because you gave him the chance. He didn't take it. And then very clearly and in a smart way communicated what he did wrong. You didn't create drama saying something vague. You didn't start to cry. You didn't try to mess up with him because he was mean. You continued with your life, trying to deal with the pain, and when he came back to be an a-hole, you didn't take it. By the way, he and his friends deserved way worse, but it rarely pans out for the victims to try and do anything against them because they thrive in making fun and humiliating others. That is why I said your comeback was perfect. If he comes back and asks for forgiveness, do it if you feel it is okay, but don't become his friend ever again. For all you know, he might be just looking for another way to hurt you. Not the a-hole. I wish I had your quick wit for comebacks. I usually think of something 3 hours later, lol. I always try to avoid conflict and trouble, and bullies just bring trouble. Also, I hope he doesn't come near me again, even if he wants to apologize. His presence isn't good for my poor stomach. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my daughter's half-sister come over to my house again? I, 29 female, have a daughter, 9 female, with my ex-husband, 31 male. When our daughter was 18 months old, I found out he had cheated and fathered another child, and I ended our marriage. He remarried the mother of his second child, and his other daughter is 8. To make my post easier to follow, I will call my daughter Ella and her half-sister Callie. My ex and I share custody of Ella. We communicate via an app and have plenty of co-parenting issues. But I always try to put my daughter first. I kept my distance from Callie and her mom for years but was getting tons of pressure from my ex's parents to invite Callie to birthday parties because my ex and his wife don't really throw any for the girls, which I knew. I didn't invite Callie, and Ella never asked me to. But my ex's parents called me a bad mother for not putting Ella first and securing her relationship with Callie. It got to me, and when a couple of "we need a babysitter right now" emergencies came up, I agreed to have Callie over when I was taking Ella on my ex's time. I regretted it. She was here far longer than agreed on, and not only would my ex's parents not take her, but I couldn't reach him at all. When she was eventually picked up by my ex, we exchanged heated words both times. He was mad at me for calling him multiple times, and I was mad he didn't send me a heads up about it. After the second time, I swore I would never do it again, and I told my ex's parents to buzz off when they started bringing up the topic of inviting Callie to Ella's birthday parties. I ignored them for the most part, but a downside of small-town living is you see people more than you'd like. A few months ago, I became aware of my ex and his wife ignoring Callie and neglecting her. Most days, nobody picks her up from school until it's late, and I have seen her waiting at 5:30 some days, so I know there's truth to that. My ex's parents mentioned it a few times, and in response, I told them they should step up and stop telling me. My ex has started texting more and asking me to pick Callie up and babysit until someone can come and get her, and he's admitted he's leaving her out on the street on her own. I have called CPS a couple of times, especially when my ex has admitted to leaving her out there and also to not providing enough food. Nothing was done. Callie is still there, and no visit has been made that I'm aware of. Ella does not get the same experience. Not only does she use the bus, but my ex works from home on his parenting weeks. She's never gone without food, and she is not being neglected over there. Although she hates being at her dad's and wants to live with me. She doesn't have the greatest relationship with her dad. I have documented everything so that I can try to get custody eventually. But when CPS has done nothing, the chance of a change in custody is so low, especially when Ella is not neglected. This brings me back to Callie. I have been asked repeatedly to step up and help her by my ex and his parents now, and I know she's not being taken care of like she should. But I swore never again, and I have stood by that. Ella doesn't want her here. The girls aren't close, and Ella prefers it being just the two of us. I don't want Callie here either. I know she's not the cheater, but I do see her as the product of my ex's affair still, and I hated having her here. I pushed it down when she was. But knowing Ella feels the same, it doesn't inspire me to have her over more, and I do not want to provide for the child of my ex's affair. But I know she's an innocent kid, and I'm getting grief from crappy people for it, and I guess it's making me second-guess this, especially when I'm aware of what's going on. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You have done the correct thing with notifying CPS. It is an unfortunate situation, but you are not responsible for Callie. Keep calling CPS. Remind your ex, Callie is not your responsibility, and he, her mother and ex-in-laws need to step up. Where is the mother in all this and her family? I don't know her family, but she's around. We never communicate though. Let the school know over and over and over again, and if you're aware she's abandoned, call the police. That can work more effectively than going to CPS directly. We cannot save every at-risk kid by ourselves, but we can keep them on the authorities' radar. Yep, and then if a CPS case is made against them for Callie, use the results to get more custody of your child. If they neglect one child, they will do it to others. It's rich that ex's parents are coming so hard at you. Why aren't they addressing their son neglecting their grandchild? Sounds like that whole family is garbage. Total trash. This is exactly what I was thinking. I would have deleted them from my life as well as him to the utmost extent possible. The actual audacity of these people to expect her to take care of their grandchild that their dirtbag son had through an affair. Not the a-hole. Stay firm. Focus on your own daughter. And every time the ex reaches out regarding his daughter, document and send it to his parents and CPS. I don't want to be told I need to help the other child. My daughter is already in therapy. I have called CPS twice. Nothing was done.